Welcome in lesson 5 about building LocalStack manager with JavaFX. This time we will try to load some buckets from LocalStack to our table. So let me run the app. On the left hand side here we're going to have a table with the buckets, and when we click the bucket later on we will see the here in that bucket objects, the objects in that bucket. So how to do that? Well, first thing that we should do is go to tab, and in the table, that one, table view, we need to give us some name to that table. Sorry, ID. Let's name it S3 table buckets, like that. And the other table on the right, which is, where is the table view? Here. We will name this one table files object. So we have table name, and we have two columns. In the first column we will list the name of the bucket, and in the second column, for example, we can list the creation date. So bucket name and created. Let's see how it looks like. So yeah, bucket name and created. That's what we want to get. We have to name those columns. Let's name that column here call bucket name, call bucket name, and the second one, let's name that one call bucket created, like that. Nothing's changing. But if we go to scene builder, in the columns we will be able to see the IDs of those columns and table. So have table buckets, bucket columns, and because we're going to actually need those two values, bucket name and bucket created, we should create here a model. So let's create package model, and let's name that model bucket model. Writing isn't my best skill, I think. So bucket model, and what properties this one will have? We'll have string property, is from JavaFX means property, it's not just plain string. This one's going to be name, and this one will be creation date. Creation date, because those fields are final, we have to create the constructor for that. But here we have to change values to string, not a string property. And here, because this one is string and this one is string property, we can't do that. We have to do new simple string property name, something like that. And here we have to do new simple string property creation date. Now it's working. So let's add now getters. It will create 4 getters, right? One will be for string, and the second one will be for the string property. This one is JavaFX specific class. So yeah, the model is done. And what we have to do, because we want to work with LocalStack, we need to create service, and that's going to be S3 service. For S3, let's name it S3 service. I hope you had a chance to work with S3 before. So yeah, we have to use private final S3 client. Yeah, it's not going to work because what we have to do in our POM XML, first in the POM XML we have to add a dependency which will be S3 from Software Amazon SDK, and the version will be 2026, maybe 229. Let's see if we can work with that one. Seems to be fine now, so let's work on our S3 service, S3 client. Let's name it S3 client. And now we have to create a constructor, public S3 service, right? And S3 service will be taking one parameter, which will be endpoint to our local stack. We can change those endpoints. So we want to be like a little bit flexible with that. Yeah, so this S3 client will be S3 client builder. We're going to build that client. So endpoint override will be URI. We're going to create URI from that endpoint. Next one, we'll select region. I think default now for LocalStack is US East 1. So we're going to use that one. We can change that one later on. Now we have to pass credentials provider. So that will be static credentials provider, create, and we'll pass AVS basic credentials provider. Again, create. I know it's confusing, yeah, with some default test key ID and test as a access key. Right, so now another thing we have to add to the builder is service configuration, which will be S3 configuration, S3 configuration builder, and that will get path style access enabled, not that one, path style access enabled, which will be true. That will be for LocalStack builder build, and again build on that one. So yeah, this looks complicated, isn't it? Yeah, it's not easy to work with the AWS actually. So now we need to create a method to list buckets. So it will be public list, and the object type will be of type bucket. We'll name that method list buckets. Wow, list buckets, and here we'll use list bucket response. Will be S3 client. Is built-in method, so actually it's cool. We don't need to do much about it. We're getting down for free, and it will return response and buckets from that response. We want to get that. So I think this one is ready. We can jump to another step, which is creating some actions on that bucket. So in the previous video we created that set an action, so button is clicked, right? So now we would like to load buckets. We can name the local method like this. It can be a void method. And to do that, we have to, of course, call our function S3 service. Okay, we don't have the services. Of course, we need to add it here. So here, private S3 service, and here initialize S3 service equals new S3 service, and the endpoint will be HTTP localhost, and port, I think port for LocalStack default will be 4566. I have LocalStack running in the Docker, so it should be fine. So here in S3 service, we will list the buckets, right? So that should work. We need to add few more items. As you remember, here we have added the table view and the column, so we need to add those to controller as well. So let's add those here. First one will be table view. So add fxml private table view. Table view needs to get parameter here, type, which will be of our model, bucket model, right? Because that table will list items which are of type bucket model. And let's separate that one. Let's add column fxml private, that will be table, table column. We have to pass also bucket model, and let's grab the name here. So that will be the name, and this is string, so I have to pass string, right, like that. Let's duplicate that one, and let's grab the second column name created, and let's add it here. So yeah, those are ready. So in initializer, we have to actually initialize those as well. So let's grab the column name, S3 bucket name, and set cell value factory. Will be new property value factory, and here we have to pass the same name of the field like we have in the model. So it will be name, as a string, and we have to duplicate that one to use for the second column, and let's copy the name of that field and let's pass it here. So yeah, let's create now bucket data, something to hold the bucket data. So the construct that holds bucket data for us will be observable list, which will hold the items of type bucket model, and let's call it that name bucket data. So when we load the buckets by using load buckets method, we want to put them in into that assigned to that variable which is of that type. So it's observable list bucket model, right? So yeah, this one is done, and here bucket data equals fx collections, that will be observable array list. That's a complicated name. And and hopefully that's it. What else we should do? Let me just think. Bucket table S3 buckets. Yeah, and what we have to do, we have to assign set items to that one, and that will be bucket data, right? So here we're creating that list, and here we have to assign those items to that table, because if we don't do that, the table will be empty. So yeah, that's it for now. We should work now on load buckets method a little bit. Load bucket is have just one thing, but it should contain more. So let's actually do try. Let me zoom in. Try and catch. Catch will be of type exception, and here we'll now just print statement like there was an error. Error loading buckets, and let's print that error. Get message. It's always nice to know what's happening if something goes wrong. Okay, so we have the buckets. But first what we have to do, we have to take buckets data and we have to clear it in case if there's anything there. Every time we want to reload the list, we want to clean it first, otherwise it will keep adding items to the existing items. So we have that one, and we have S3 bucket list buckets, so we can have here, but we need to assign it to some sort of variable because we want to work on that one. And for bucket in bucket in buckets, right? We want to take bucket data and add to it a new bucket model. This first one will take bucket name, and the second one is created, right? So created date. So we need to get bucket, bucket creation date. Okay, there's some error here. What is the error? The error is, okay, we required string, but this one is instant, so we have to change that one somehow into string, right? So let's do string create the date equals bucket creation date. If it's not null, then bucket creation date add zone, let's say it's zone ID system default, so let's use system default zone and add formatter here, or not, let's add string not available. We have to create a formatter first. Yep, Java is not easy, so formatter will be date time formatter. Let's pick the second from the list. Formatter equals, let's copy that, date time formatter of pattern, and let's pass the pattern. So for time y, for year, 2 capital for month, lowercase dd for day, capital HH for hour, lower MM for minutes, and lower SS for SSS seconds. So that's the formatter, and let's use that created date here, and maybe let's just check if we're actually getting those buckets. So for bucket sort bucket, we'll print the bucket, but first we have to go to bucket model and add some toString method here. toString, let's use the default, and yeah, let's see if it works. So let me just make it lower. Okay, we're having error. Again, probably is the modules. I'm not really fan of those modules, to be honest. It's causing me so many issues. With Spring Boot is so nice, isn't it? So opens, we need to use that one, bucket model. So we need to open path to models. com severino local model to which one? To JavaFX base. So let's copy that. I hope it will be enough. Let's run it. Yeah, so actually we have the printed and printed in the terminal, and here our table has the buckets that I previously created on my LocalStack. So yeah, if I press reload, it seems to work. Yeah, so cool. I'm glad that it's working. We have to make that column a little bit wider, so we should go to S3 tab, and here prefer width, let's use maybe 200 pixel and 200. Let's see. Yeah, so that's cool. So let's use a little bit more, 300 for the name of the bucket. Yeah, that's cool, because we might get like long bucket names. So nice, we can make it smaller and bigger. It's up to us. So yeah, I know it's a little bit complicated, especially that class here, controller, a lot of things happening here. So yeah, we have to remember that we need to create the fields, get the proper data, and assign those values to tables. If I miss that one, probably there will be no data in the table, right? So I'm pressing, and nothing is happening, because after the loading data to the list, I have to assign that list to the table. So yeah, that's it in this video. In the next video, we will try to get some bucket objects in the next table. Thank you very much.